أن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. What has been collected by Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim in their Sahihain is a tremendous hadith we want to talk about here today, inshallah azza wa jalla. It is a long hadith. We're only going to take the middle portion of the hadith. But I would hope that all of you would go back because of your hirs and your ghira and your desire to know more about your deen, that you will go back to read the whole story. I'm sure many of you have heard about this story. And this is a hadith that shook the Muslim community during the time of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi to his very core. And very seldom will you find a masjid in this dunya, in Somalia, in Kenya, in the UK, in Mecca, in Medina. Very seldom will you find a masjid where the Muslims took the tafaqquh and they understood this particular hadith so as not to have the problems repeated of what happened during that time. It is the hadith that the ulama of al-hadith, they called it qissatul ifk, the great slander of our mother, Aaisha, radiyallahu anha wa ardaha. As I mentioned, we're only going to deal with the middle of the hadith. In the beginning, there's a lot to be said, and after the end, there's a lot to be said, but half of an hour doesn't give us enough time. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi went on a trip, and from his sunnah is that when he used to go on trips, even if it was for jihad, he would bring his wife with him or his wives with him, a sign, a proof, and an indication of his shuja'. He was a brave man. Today, if the Muslim had to go by himself in order to put his life on the line, he wouldn't do it. The Nabi used to bring, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the most beloved people to him with him. He brought Aaisha with him on this particular trip. When they were coming back from the journey, Aaisha radiallahu anha went to answer the call of nature, akramakumullah, and they used to carry her in a hodij, so the people thought she was still inside because she was young. So the army left, and Aaisha was left in the middle of the desert. There was another man from the companions, his name was Mu'attal, Safwan ibn Mu'attal. It was his job, radiyallahu anhu, to always come after the army to look to see if anything was lost, and he would bring it with him to Medina. A clear sign from the sunnah of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is what is known as al-ittikhad bil-asbab. The Muslim has to make a tawakkul on Allah, but he ties his camel first, and then he makes a tawakkul on Allah. He doesn't throw his issues and throw caution to the wind, and he says, I'm gonna make a tawakkul. The Nabi made that man, his job was, you come after the army and you look, if anything was left, you bring it to us. That man came and he saw Aaisha radiallahu anha by herself. He didn't say anything other than, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This is a musibah. The wife of the Nabi, the al-Mu'mineen, the daughter of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, a Muslimah who's not a regular Muslimah, left by herself in the desert. This is a musibah. He didn't say anything. He made his camel get down, she got on the camel, and they came into the city of Al-Medina. When they came into Al-Medina in broad daylight, just like now, broad daylight, the people saw the two of them coming into the city, the munafiqeen. And they're in every masjid, and they're in every Muslim community. Those who spy those who are kuffar on the inside, but they show us Islam on the outside. It's not your job, it's not my job, it's not your responsibility to try to figure them out. It's not your job. You worship Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah will protect us from them. He said in the Quran, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. They are the worst of the people. So they're going to be in the lowest part of the hellfire. When the munafiqun saw Aaisha coming into the city with Safwan ibn Mu'attal, they started to say, out of all of the things they could have said, they said, they're making zina, they're having an affair, they're making fahisha. Instead of having husn al-dhan, they said, making zina, making fahisha. The worst possible interpretation, that's the tariq and the sunnah of the munafiqeen. Unfortunately, there were some Muslims from the companions, radiyallahu anhum, who, when they heard this news, they began to say certain things. And they would say, did you hear what happened? And he would go and say, did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened? Some of them spoke about it. Aaisha said, radiyallahu anha, when I arrived in Al-Medina, I was sick from the journey. I just became sick. So I stayed in my house for 1 month, 30 days, 29 days. The Prophet would come to me and he wouldn't spend any time in my house, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. All he would say to me was, Kayfa tikum? How you doing? And that's it. Kayfa tikum? She said, I knew that there was a problem. 30 days and that's all he said to me? Because this was the woman, Ikhwani, you people, Ummatul Islam. When the companions asked Rasulullah, who's the most beloved person to you? He said, Aaisha. This was his Habiba, his Mahbuba, bima'na al-kalima. This was the lady, radiyallahu anha, because of her youthful nature, because of her temperament. Sometimes she would get upset with the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Anytime she got upset with him for some reason of her desires from the dunya, the Nabi would never ever repay her anger with anger. He used to always diffuse the situation and calm it down because of his extreme love for her. Not because he was under her thumb, but because of his extreme love. You show me in this masjid right now, a man, his woman, his wife gives him a hard time, and you see the vast majority of us, when our wives give us hard times, we deal with it by giving her a hard time back. But because of her position, she had a high position. She said all he would come and he would say was, Kayfa tikum? She was loved by him, mahbuba ladayh. And also, she was sick. And it's a well-known fact, any Muslim who reads about this seerah and the sunnah, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has put a lot of emphasis on how to be with the marda. Those of our family members who are sick, we have many ahadith telling us what to do and what not to do in an attempt to help them to convalesce, to get well. What to feed them, what not to feed them, how to be and how not to be. And here it is, his wife. And all he said, Kayfa tikum? She said, after 1 month, I went out to answer the call of nature with Mistah. She said that the lady almost tripped over her jilbab. When she almost tripped over her jilbab, the lady said, Ta'isa Mistah. May Mistah, my son, may be destroyed. Aaisha said, do you say that about a man who participated in the war of Badr? The biggest ghazwa known to Bani Adam. Did you say that about him? La Yajuz. They're from the best of Bani Adam. The mother said, you didn't hear what Mr. has been saying about you? She said, no, I didn't hear it. What did he say? And then the lady told Aaisha the story. That people are saying that you committed zina. The people are saying that you made fahisha. And my son Mr., who's a companion, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, he was part of the people from the ummah who was saying that, spreading the news. Aaisha said, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe. For 1 month, the people are talking about me and about this issue. She said, I went home and I waited for the Nabi. He came, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and all he said to me after I knew what happened was, again, Kayfa tikum? How's your situation? She said, I couldn't take any more. I said, Ya Rasulullah, would you allow me to go to the house of my mother and my father, which is an important point for those of you who are married. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, yes, go to your mother and father. Go there. Because he knows whenever the Muslim woman has some drama, some problems, some static, it's only natural for her to want to go back to the house of her father, to get the support of those people who loved her. those people who protected her. She grew up in the house of a man and a woman, brothers and sisters, who loved and supported her. The Nabi did not say to Aaisha, you a spoiled brat, you a little baby, he didn't say that. He took in consideration her situation. Yes, go home, you need some support. She went back home. She said, I saw my mother Ruman. I said to my mother, did you hear? Did you know about this news? Instead of the mother saying, yes, I heard about it, the mother gave her daughter some irshad, some tawjihat. She said to her daughter, Ya bunayya, hawani ala nafsi. قلما توجد امرأة رضية مثلك وكانت لها الضرائر إلى أكثرنا عليها الكلام. Very seldom will you find a lady as beautiful as you are. Our mother Aaisha, for those who didn't know, she was a beautiful woman. Physically, she was an attractive woman. The Prophet ﷺ used to call her Humayra, was her nickname, which means the white and illuminated one. She was an attractive woman. Her mother said, never did there find a woman find herself as beautiful as you are, and she has co-wives, except that the co-wives will talk about her. So, take it easy, my daughter. Be careful about how you deal with this situation. She didn't want her daughter to become the recipient of more kalam. Take it easy how you deal with the situation in the society. She said, I couldn't believe it. My mother knew about it. I couldn't believe it. 1 month, nobody told me about it. I couldn't believe it. She said that one of the ladies from the Ansar came to visit her. They allowed that lady in. She said that that lady sat with her all day and all night. And all she did was cry and cry and cry, and she couldn't sleep. And she said that, I thought that my bladder was going to become malfunctioned because of the excessive crying. Another point. The Ansari lady came and she supported Aaisha radiallahu anha. She wasn't like the people of our community. For those of you who don't know Arabic, there is a word I want to share with you. We have to avoid this word. It is called shamata. Shamata. That's when a calamity befalls someone. Something bad happens to someone and you're happy. In our community, if something happens to someone, to another Muslim brother, sister, family, even relatives, when it happens, we want to applaud. We want to have a party as a result of that. The Nabi says, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم مثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عدو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالحمى والسهر. The example of the believer in our community is like the example of one body. If one part of the body hurts, he has a toothache, he has a migraine, he broke his foot, broke his toe, the whole body is going to suffer. What happens in Somalia, I, as an African American, I can't say, I'm from America, that's not my problem. What happens in Syria, I can't say, I'm from America, that's not my problem. He's happy when he's happy, he's sad when he's sad, he's disturbed when he's disturbed, and so forth and so on. That's not the condition today. The lady from the Ansar came, she cried with Aaisha radiallahu anha. She said, the next day, my father, my mother, the lady from the Ansar and me, we were in the house crying. The Nabi came, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. She didn't see the Prophet for a whole month. The Nabi sought permission to come in. They told him to come in. He started to give what appeared to be a khutbah. And alhamdulillahi, nahmaduhu. And it's only 4 people there, in addition to the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad abdu wa rasul. Then he said, Amma ba, ya Aaisha, laqad balagani anki kada wa kada. I heard about this and this concerning you. Wallahi in kunti bari'a fasayubarri'iki Allah. وإن ألممت بذنب فاستغفر الله وتوبي إليه فإن العبد إذا اعترف وتاب تاب الله عليه. Aaisha, I heard this and I heard that about you. I heard this and I heard that. If you are innocent, then Allah is going to exonerate you. Allah will prove that you're innocent. And if you were guilty and you touched this thing, or this thing touched you, this fahisha, then you have to make tawbah. And you have to ask Allah to forgive you. Not only that, but you have to come clean right now. You have to let us know. You have to expose yourself and let us know that you did it if you did this. Now the question is, in our religion, everybody here, in the first row, second row, in the back, Arab, non-Arab, man, woman, rich, employed, unemployed, everybody here is making sins. Look anywhere, in any direction. Everybody here is making sins. Even the kaba'ir, even. But in our religion, everybody here has been commanded, don't publicize your sin. The Nabi, he says, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, كل أمتي معافى إلى المجاهرين وإن من الجهار أن يعمل الرجل عملا بالليل ثم يصبح فيكشف الله فيستره الله سبحانه وتعالى فيذهب فيقول يا فلان لقد عملت البارحة كذا وكذا وكذا يكشف ستر الله عنه. All of my ummah will be forgiven. Everybody will be forgiven for their sins, except those who broadcast. He said, and from broadcasting is the one who does a sin at night. He's watching something, listening to something, doing something that's haram. And then he comes and he says, hey, so-and-so, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And he exposes himself after Allah made him a mastur. Why would the Nabi tell Aaisha, you have to admit it. You have to publicize what you did in front of us the four of us. You have to say something. The reason for that, Ikhwani, and this is a part of our Aqidah. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the Sayyid of Bani Adam, and he is the Khatam of the Anbiya and the Rasul, and he is the best human being. It is not permissible for him to be married to a woman who's a zani. It's permissible. A man committed zina in this masjid or other than this masjid. It's permissible if his wife found out about it to forgive him and then to cover it up and to keep going. It's permissible. She has to weigh the masad and the mafasid. A man found that his wife committed zina. Someone from the masajid. It's permissible for him. Keep going if he wants. He has to weigh the benefits and the harms. As for the Prophet and the Nabi, it's not permissible. It's haram and it's mustahil. Not permissible. Allah mentioned in the Quran in an ayat that was revealed before this incident, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْزَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرُكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Allah wants to take all of the dirt off of you, ya Ahl al-Bayt. Allah wants to purify you totally. That's all of his women before this issue. Allah mentioned in the Quran, he mentioned in the Quran, al-khabithat lil-khabithin wal-khabithun lil-khabithat. Bad women are for bad men are for bad women. وَالطَّيِّبَاتُ لِلطَّيِّبِينَ وَالطَّيِّبُونَ لِلطَّيِّبَاتِ. Is it ma'qul for the Muslim who has his aql? He himself doesn't want anyone to think or believe his wife is a zaniya, and he believes that the mother of the believers committed zina, the daughter of Abu Bakr committed zina. If any man's wife committed zina, that's an aib and an ar on that man himself, and his family is qabila, him himself. How is a person going to believe as the people of Iran believe, as the people of some of them of Iraq believe? How is it possible that a person can believe Aaisha radiallahu anha committed zina? Allah mentioned in the Quran, ضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا الصالحين فخانتاهما فلم يغني عنهما من الله شيئا وقيل ادخل النار مع الداخلين. Allah has given an example for the disbelievers. The wife of Noor and the wife of Lot. Those two women, they were married to two of our righteous servants, under them, responsible for them. And they made khiyana. They made khiyana to their husbands. All of the people who gave tafsir of the Quran, they said, the khiyana here is not zina. The khiyana here is the two women, they didn't know al-wala wal-bara. The two women here, they used to help the kuffar over their two husbands who were from the prophets and the messengers. As a result of that, not knowing al-wala wal-bara, as a result of helping the kuffar over Islam and the prophets, as a result of that, they're going to go to the hellfire. As for making zina, hasha lillah, it's not possible. When the Nabi came in, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he told her, you have to admit. She said to her father, radiyallahu anha. She looked at her father and said, Ajib anni Rasulullah. You, Father, Father, answer the Nabi. You raised me. You raised me to have iffah and to have izzah and sharaf. You answer. Abu Bakr said, Ma adri ma aqul li Rasulillah. I don't know what I'm going to say. What can I say? I'm not saying anything. She couldn't believe it. She looked at her mother. Ajibi anni Rasulullah. Ummi, you answer the Nabi. Answer what he's saying. You answer on my behalf. You're my mother. Aisha's mother said, like the father. I don't know what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say. He's your husband and he's Rasulullah. This is your father, my husband, and he's the best of Bani Adam after the prophets and the messenger. You think I'm going to put myself before him and him? What am I going to say? Aisha said at that moment I became angry. وَقَرَصَتْ دُمُوعِي. And my tears stopped coming down. Because she became angry for Allah. She became angry for the haqq. She became angry in defense of herself. So she said, listen, I know this word that you people heard, what the people are talking about. I know that it found a place in your hearts. I know that. She said, Wallahi, if I were to tell you that I didn't do it, and Allah knows that I didn't do it, then you people are not going to believe me. And if I told you that I did it, and Allah knows I didn't do it, you people are going to believe me. She said, I don't know anything better to say right now at this moment, other than the words of the righteous slave. And then she called them Abu Yusuf. And then she read some ayahs of the Quran. Abu Yusuf, Ikhwani, is Yaqub of the Quran. Allah didn't call him Abu Yusuf in the Quran. The Prophet in no hadith, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, called him Abu Yusuf. But we know he's Abu Yusuf. She said the reason why I called him Abu Yusuf is because I forgot his name was Yaqub. I was young and it was a fitna. And I was in the middle of the drama, which will give you an idea of how serious it was, how hot it was, how she was dealing with something. She said, I forgot Yaqub's name. And then she read the ayah of the Quran, where Yaqub said, Sabrun Jameel, Wallahu Musta'an. Allahu Musta'an, ala ma tasifun. I'm going to have beautiful patience, Yaqub said. And I'm going to seek Allah's help concerning what you people are saying and what you people are doing. That goes to show, Ikhwani, although Aaisha was young, she used to take the Quran and she used to get strength from the stories of the Quran. She was attached to the book of Allah and the stories of the people in the Quran, from the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal. Not like the people today. Not like the Muslim Ummah today. Visit the Quran, deal with the Quran just in the month of Ramadan. If I have a baby, I want to name my baby a name. So I open up the Quran, close my eyes, and I put my hand on a word, on an ayah. And then I call my son Sirat, because that's where my hand went. No, she took the Quran, what she knew of the Quran, to get strength from the Quran. But there's something more important than that. Something more important than that. This issue, Ikhwani, goes to show that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this problem is touching him. It's about him. It's about his honor. It's about his wife. It's about his household. Him. And yet the Nabi, he didn't put himself forward. He didn't put himself forward. When there was no revelation, when Allah didn't tell him what to do, he didn't make ijtihad. He didn't put himself forward. It's his problem. He could have said, I'm the Nabi. It's impossible. He didn't say anything because there were no ayats. There were no ahadith. He, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he just remained silent. In addition to that, when the companions saw that he didn't put himself forward, Abu Bakr and his wife, they didn't put themselves forward. Allah mentioned in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, la tuqaddimu bayna yaday Allahi wa rasulih, wattaqullah. Don't put yourselves forward before Allah and his messenger. How many other people today, from our ummah, we put ourselves forward in aqidah, in ibadah, in the ayat. We put ourselves forward. In this city, I don't know how many masjids are Milton Keynes. You go to the masajid, our brothers who are from Pakistan, and this is not a dig on Pakistani people. I'm telling you a reality. Birmingham, wherever you go, London, the vast majorities of the masjids in this country, they believe in something that's called Allah's prophet is Hazir Nazir. That he is omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's with us right now. He's in Kismayo. He's in Basaso. He's in Peking. He's everywhere with us. Wherever, he's everywhere. that issue of Aqidah. Did Abu Bakr believe that? Did Umar, Uthman, Ali, did they believe that? Why put yourself forward in a serious issue like that? Ibadat of Islam. You go into the masjid, they lower the lights, they put bukhur, and the people make dhikr of Allah. Based on an ayah, Allah bi dhikrillahi tatmin al-qulub. Allah, Allah, Allah. You ask, where is that? Where do you get that from? This is not to put anyone down. It's to say to the Ummah of Islam, don't put yourself forward when it comes to this religion. Wait, if there's a dalil, hadith, Quran, and the companions understood it that way, then we do that particular thing. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi wa sallam, after saying what he said, Aaisha said what she said. She said, at that point I laid back on the bed and I put the cover over myself and I went to lay down. She said I had no doubt that Allah was going to protect me and exonerate me. And that's because of the meaning ayat of the Quran. Alaysa Allahu bikaf abdihi. Isn't Allah enough for a servant? Inna Allah yudafi'u 'anil ladhina amanu. Allah will protect those who believe. All of those ayat, sayakfikuhumullah. Allah is going to be enough for you over them. That ayat applies to you, me. That ayat applies to everyone from the Muslims. Any regular person. I'm a Bakr Zayd. What about Aaisha from the ulama of the companions, the wife of the Nabi? She said, I had no doubt Allah was going to save me. She said, when I lay down, I actually thought that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi would see something in a dream. But after I laid down and I turned away, sweat started coming off of the face of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he started shaking, and we realized revelation was coming down on him. Right now, Ikhwani, as I speak in his masjid, it's hot in here and I'm talking. So I'm sweating because I'm exerting energy. She said that this hadith, this incident, happened in the winter time, and it gets cold in Medina. She said that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started sweating because this was the effect and the impact of the Quran upon him. The revelation of the Quran was not easy on him, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. وَسَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلٍ ثَقِيلًا. We're going to put on you, Ya Muhammad, a heavy statement. She said that he started sweating like the size of pearls. After he sweated and the ayat came down, he said, Ya Aaisha, Shiri, Aaisha, be happy. I have a bushra. Allah has cleared you. Allah has exonerated you. And then he started to read the 13 ayat from Surah Noor. Surah Noor, Ummat al-Islam, from Masjid al-Rawda. It is Noor. Who from amongst us sat down with his family to read Surah Noor? And the tafsir, just of those 13 ayat. The evil of hearing something and then repeating it. Allah said in the Quran, تَحْسَبُونَهُ هَيَّنًا وَهُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ. You people think that this thing that is being said is something small? It's big with Allah. That someone would come and say about any Muslim person, he committed zina, she committed zina, and you're just spreading news. تَلْقُونُهُ بِأَلْسِنَتِكُمْ. Allah said you took it with your tongues. Normally, the aqil, he's going to sit there and he hears the speech of a person. He takes it with his ears. It goes in his mind, his brain, and his heart. He sees, is it beneficial, harmful? If it's beneficial, he'll repeat it. If it's harmful, he'll keep it in and keep his mouth shut. If he doesn't know, benefit, harm, he says, I'm not going to talk about it. The way we are, all we have to do is hear. Fulan did this, Fulan did that, and here we are with the wife. Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? How would you feel if it was you? How would you feel if it was your daughter? From the sifat of the nisa, not only the nisa, but from their sifat is الثرثرة. إني رأيت أكثر أهل النار النساء. I saw the majority of the occupants of the hellfire are the women more than anyone else. One of their characteristics is they just talk. They talk. It's not just women, but it's from the characteristics that the man has to avoid. The aqil, hakim, he hears it. He doesn't take it with his tongue. When it comes, it's juice it right out. That's not our religion. Aaisha radiallahu anha, she said, when the Prophet read the ayat to her, the 13 ayat from Surah Noor, her mother and her father said, Get up. Qumi ila Rasulillah. Get up. Go to the Nabi. This is a happy day. Celebrate. Go to your husband. Go to Rasulullah. This is a farh, big thing. Aaisha said, La wallahi, inni ahmidullah wahdahu la sharika lahu. I'm not going to go to him and I'm not standing up for anybody. I'm only going to praise Allah. And that goes to show the aqidah of Aaisha. Rasulullah is Habib, but Allah is Ahab. Rasulullah is Aziz, but Allah is Az. Ummat al-Islam. What happened to the aqidah in al-Islam? Where Allah is more important than his creation. Rasulullah is her husband, Sallallahu Alaihi, Abu Bakr is her father, her mother Ruman. They're from the makhluqat. She heard something from her husband, Sallallahu Alaihi, that she didn't like. Something from her father and her mother she didn't like. You'll never hear from Allah what you don't like. Never, ever, ever. They say, Ya Rasulullah, take for your ring a stamp. Wear a stamp so that you can show the people that the letter came from you. He said, okay, write on my ring, Muhammad Rasulullah. He could have written it, Muhammad Rasul Allah. He said, no, put it like this. Muhammad at the bottom, Rasul in the middle, Allah at the top. Allah shouldn't be below Muhammad. Allah shouldn't be equal to Muhammad. Some munafiq, the munafiq Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Sulul, the one who instigated this fitna, and another incident, he was bothering the companions, saying stuff. Abu Bakr, he said to the companions, Ta'alu bina linasta'in bi Rasulillah ala hadha munafiq. Come with us, come with me. Let's go get Rasulullah to help us against this munafiq. Make isti'ana. Let's go. When they went to the Nabi, the hadith said that the Prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Innahu la yusta'anu illa billah. You shouldn't seek help from anyone other than Allah. Abdullah, don't go to the sahir. Don't go to the magician. Aaisha radiallahu anha, she had that quwwatul iman and quwwatul shakhsiyah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسلام. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillahi ummat al-Islam. I know we went past the time. I just need 2 minutes of your time. 2 minutes extra, inshallah, of an important point. Don't let anybody sit in this audience and he thinks wrongly. Why didn't the Prophet have husn al-dhan for his wife? Husn al-dhan. Allah said, the Nabi said, Iyakum al-dhan, finna al-dhan akdhab al-hadith. Don't speculate. Because usually when you're speculating, it's wrong. You have to have husn al-dhan for the believer. You meet a Muslim for the first time, you have to believe he's praying. You have to believe he's practicing religion. You can't meet someone and think the worst of them and you don't have any dalil. My wife is in this masjid with me right now, like some of your wives. I have no doubt, inshallah, any man who tried to get close to my wife, do something like that, she's going to tell me. Because I know her. I have husn al-dhan. وَلَا أُزَكِّي عَلَى اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. That's my opinion about her. Do you think that Aaisha, the Nabi, didn't feel like that about Aaisha? You yourself feel like that about your own wife, your own daughter. You think the Nabi didn't feel like that? So don't be of the people who they allow the Rafida to take these issues and to trick you in your religion. In the beginning of the hadith, the Nabi came to the masjid, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the people were talking. He said to his companions, "Man ya'dhuruni fi rajulin adani fi ahli, ولا عالم أهلي إلا خيرا وقد آذوا رجل صالحا لم يدخل على أهلي إلا وهو معي." He said to the companions in the masjid, who from amongst you will help me? Who will come and help me to deal with this munafiq who said this about my wife, and he hurt my wife, and he hurt a religious man? I only know good about my wife, and the man that he's talking about, Safwan ibn Mu'attab, I only know good about me. He never went to my house except he was with me. Who will help me? Some of the companions said, we will, Ya Rasulullah. And then the others were going to fight them because some of the people, they were the Asabiyya, the Qabaliyya. So when the Nabi saw that they were about to fight, he said, leave it. That's a proof and that's a dalil. He had a good opinion about his wife. But he's not going to put himself forward when there's no dalil, no wahi. Lastly, Ikhwani, and I have to mention this. This is not a political khutbah, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. You know this problem in Syria? This problem in Syria is connected to this hadith in your aqidah. That non-Islamic regime, the Kafir Hakim of Syria, that man is killing innocent people, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. And one of the ways that he's killing them is he's getting weapons from Iran. From Iran! Those people who believe Aaisha committed zina. And when their Mahdi al-Muntazir comes back, he's going to raise Aaisha out of the grave and give the hajj to her. That's what they believe. And in Yemen, there's a place called Damaj. People of the Sunnah learning their religion. There are a group of them called the Houthiyun. They are killing the Muslims who are learning their religion. In Iraq, that problem in Iraq instigated, helped, perpetuated by the people of Iran. So it is not permissible for you sitting there, you, to see someone like Hassan Nasrallah from Lebanon, Hezbollah, to give a talk, and then you come and say, that's the Mujahid. That's the Mujahid. And he's saying that about the mother of the believers. The Aqidah of Islam, Ikhwani, is above everything else. Know your Aqidah, and you'll know who you are friends with and who you should be an enemy to. النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواجه أمهاتهم. We ask Allah Ta'ala to put us in the Jannah al-Firdaus where we have no doubt Aaisha is there. We ask Allah Ta'ala to put us in the place wherever Aaisha is, and those people who are her enemies, put them far, far away. We ask Allah to establish our feet firmly upon the Kitab and the Sunnah and make us of the Ansar of the Sunnah and Nabawiyah. Aqim as-salat yarhamakumullah.